So I'm super excited to have on the show today a lady that I've just met in and out and casually and talked to a few different times. I'm excited to jump into this conversation with her. Jannelle Hurst, welcome to the show, Jannelle.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. So
Yeah.
excited we were able to connect and do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I love digging into entrepreneurial journeys, and that's a lot of what I talk about here on the show. And so that first question is always your why. So just talk a little bit about what your why is for what you're doing now in your entrepreneurial journey.
Absolutely. So for my why, I think one of the biggest reasons, once I became a mom and I have two little girls, it was really important to me to be a role model for them, to show them what being a strong woman is. And part of that is opening their eyes to career choices and options that they have. So that was a big part of what fueled my why. And then two, I want to build a legacy for them. So I want to create something that's tangible that I could say, and they can see that process too, because they're 7 and 3 right now. They're growing up with me, going through this journey. And I think that helps build that connection to this legacy for them, seeing the work that goes into it because they're part of that. So that's another big part of my why is being able to show them, have them experience it, and have something tangible to leave to them and future generations. And then third, I love what I do, and I don't see a lot of people that look like me doing what I do at the top of the food chain. I absolutely love helping women, especially women of color, get a seat at the table, but not just get there, have the tools to stay there. In my role of property management, I've been in property management for about almost 20 years, both on the residential side, on the commercial side. And I want to see more women investing in real estate, rental properties, owning property, managing it properly and sustainably so they have something to pass down as their legacy for their families. So in
Mhm.
summary, those are my top 3 reasons I would say that surround my why.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. And I connect with that very well just because I know what it's like to have the little girls that are watching you. And
Mhm.
I remember the day that I left corporate America, one of my coworkers, she had given me, it was a bottle of wine and then it was a card. And inside of the card, it said, "You show those girls."
Mm,
And
yeah,
that was so powerful. I literally, when I read it, I recall just tearing up, like, and even when I think about it, because
yeah,
they are our legacy and
absolutely.
what we're going to leave for them, what's going to happen for the next generation is so important. So I love that.
Yep, I love it. Yep. And I love that they're part of the journey because I feel like that helps them connect more with the value of what you're leaving them in that legacy. It isn't something that's just handed to, you're able to see the hard work and participate. So in our rental property, our girls are there with us when we're turning those over and getting it ready. They don't understand the full gravity of it right now, but they know that we own some property and guests come and stay in our properties and they know some of the inner workings, but those little deposits along the way will help build that foundation
Yep,
that we're trying to do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they get to have that excitement, that connection. You make me think about, so I had recently purchased 4 acres with the intention to
Yes,
build
I
for
did see
Airbnb.
that. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And that whole intention was each parcel of land that I got was going to be named after the girls. And so I remember on that first one, when I told it was my middle daughter, she was so excited. She was like, "Okay, so I get to do the next one. Oh, okay. I want to go here. I want to go there." And so your point about just them getting connected in, that does wonders. And who knows the course that sets for them as they continue. And even their
Exactly.
expectations, like it raises the game. I love it. I love it. So talk to me a little bit about So in your property management business, and you've been at this, just we know what kind of got you into it and the why that you wanted to push forward with, but talk a little bit more about just how you end up saying, this is how I'm going to stamp my legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Go back to and summarize a little bit more of what I do to provide some clarity on that before I go into that. I'm a business consultant and coach, and I work with real estate investors and property owners, helping them to manage, invest, and increase their rental portfolio. That's my niche. I want to work with people that are interested in owning rental property and managing rental property themselves, giving them the tools, the how to. There's a lot of information out there that you can get on YouTube and Facebook groups and all of that. My goal is to show you how to do it, how to take that information and apply it and make it tangible and effective in what you do. So there's a lot of people that have rental property, they're managing it themselves, but they've had so many challenges over the years because they've just fell into it and thought I can do it, which you absolutely can. But my goal is to give you the tools and the how to, not just for the onesie twosies, but to do that well and also be able to scale and take advantage of acquiring more or teaching your other generations of how to do it the right way with some best practices and things like that. So that's where I really want to focus on. It's helping women, and especially minority women, hone that craft a little bit more and give you the how to.
Now, what made that the path that you decided to go down for yourself?
I've been in property management for a long time. And when thinking about branching out into entrepreneurship, you want to look at your strong points and what you truly love. One of the things that I love is meeting new people, getting to know them, and building relationship. A lot of property management is relationship building, relationship management, and that feeds into how you run your property management business, how you interact with your clientele, from your tenants that are coming to rent, to your vendors that service your property and maintain it, to lenders that you work with as you invest in additional properties. So that relationship building aspect is what really, a lot of times property managers struggle with, the managing tenant relationships. One of their hot button items, I would say, is, or fears even getting into this, is managing that trouble tenant, quote unquote, that difficult tenant. When you get to that place, how do you manage through that? Or how do I set up my system so that I don't have that, so to speak. So I wanted to focus, and since that's my strong suit in terms of the people management and the managing the property, I wanted to focus on that and give people the how to as it particularly pertains to that part of property management.
So, talk a little bit, Jannelle, just about in this space of whether it's real estate or anything else, but in this space of owning your business, having children, right?
Mm.
Doing all the things. And I can't remember, have you started this full time yet or still part time in
Still
between?
part-time. I haven't
Okay.
transitioned from corporate yet.
So,
Still
that's
working.
another dynamic. So, just talk about how do you do it all?
One day at a time, one thing at a time. When you're transitioning from corporate America, you are, well, as a mom, wife, all of that, you wear many hats to begin with. And then you add this, I want to pursue this entrepreneurial journey and start this company. And there's a different layer of how you show up and how you commit in your drive and all of that. Recently with COVID, I also started homeschooling. So
Yes.
another another layer to that, another hat to wear. So homeschooling full time, not just my kids, but my sisters and I, we put our kids together in the homeschool. So I have 5 kids altogether, full-time homeschooling, full-time employee, full-time entrepreneur, in addition to being mom and wife and taking care of the house and all of that. So it is
Mhm.
definitely a lot. It's a challenge for sure. But one of the things I find, when you finally decide that this is what I want to do,
Yep.
There is a mindset shift
Absolutely.
and a strength and drive that comes from the pit of your soul
Mhm.
that continues to push you forward.
Mhm.
I don't mind the long nights. I don't mind getting up early in the morning because my kids, I have work and school and all of this. So you have to constantly restructure your day. If it's 5 a.m. that you find is your best time this week to work on your business,
Mhm.
that's what you do.
Yeah.
If it's 10 o'clock at night after the kids go to bed, that's what you do. Goodness, yes. You just dig deep and do what you have to do, and you constantly have to adapt because the needs of your children, especially having young children, they change. And we're in this COVID environment to where we're all being impacted physically, mentally, emotionally. They are missing their friends from school like crazy.
Mhm.
Even though they have their cousins in this homeschool program with them, they're kids. They want to play, they want to be social. And it's hard for them to understand that no, you can't go to school, or we're not doing that this year. This is what we're doing. Yes,
I've got
I'm therapist and I'm everything. I'm every woman.
I've got a couple of my two younger ones who are they're looking forward to getting back to their friends. They
Yes.
are. They are like, oh, are we going back to Rockfield? That's their school. Are we going back to Rockfield next year? And yeah, we can go do this, but are we still going back? But I'm so glad that you brought up that reality because what it is essentially when you get committed to the outcome that you want to see,
Mhm.
oh, you become unstoppable.
Oh, yes.
Become unstoppable. That's not the thing, but that commitment. So I'm so glad you brought that up because that is a struggle for people. And I see this sometimes quite often. I want to do this, but I've got this. That just says you haven't quite leveraged that power of decision and put your commitment into action,
Yeah.
right? If you haven't
Mhm.
found the way. So I love that. So you were doing all the things, Jannelle, like literally all the things. And I recall because we had a conversation, and when you talked about the fact that you were homeschooling, because I let you know, I couldn't remember if I had made, yeah, I had made the decision already. So two of them that I currently homeschool that still can't say I'm doing a fantastic job. That's to be honest. But what I do remember is just your thought process around taking that different approach, right? Where you've combined together with your sister. I remember you talking about doing things on Sundays.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Yeah. We actually start our homeschool on Sundays in order to help leverage the time and the commitment for the group. So it's three of my sisters and I who have our kids in school together. One works in healthcare, she's in the hospital. The other one works in human services for DHS. And then I'm in property and project management. So our schedules and our commitment for our full-time jobs are different. So having to pool us together, we decided to start on Sundays. So my sister that cannot do a Monday through Friday school day of teaching, she has taken Sunday as her day to teach. And I do Monday and Tuesday to help the other one that's in healthcare, because when coronavirus started, of course, the hospitals, there's a huge demand for people to be there, and she works long hours. So she teaches on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and I have Monday, Tuesday. So it's a big commitment from all of us. It really is. But like you said, that thought process that went into that was really important too, because we sat down and said, what's the best for our children, for us, and how can we help each other make this a little bit easier? One of my concerns with the kids going back into the school system this school year was the uncertainty. Everyone was still trying to figure it out. And I know back in March, April of 2020, when we first went into the remote learning environment, there was so much communication. It was almost, for me personally, it was information overwhelming because I have so many things that you have to,
yeah,
now you as a parent are
yeah.
thrusted into being a teacher in addition to everything else, and you have to learn all the different apps that the kids have to log
Oh my
into.
gosh.
And each teacher is communicating with you separately. So I have the gym teacher, the music teacher, the science teacher with the assignments, and trying to, and your kid is new to this too. They don't know how to navigate through this. So it's really you, the parent. I could not for the life of me imagine going back to that.
Mhm.
That it seemed chaotic to me. So I needed more structure for me personally. I needed more structure. I needed more consistency.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that from the school system yet in terms of what their plan was. I don't think we heard from them until the week before school was supposed to start. So
Mhm.
for us, that was the best. I was like, look, if we do this, we set our schedule, we know what our week looks like, we know what our commitment level is going to be. The kids will be in a stable environment for the entire school year. I know it's a big commitment, and boy, is it a big commitment. It is a challenge.
It is, but the I think the important thing, and this is the piece I love, right? I'm big on economic independence, and I think it stretches over into things as education as well, because that all feeds its cycle. It's just like you've done with your sisters, where you all have created this community, right? And said, this is something that we used to allow the school system to take care of. We'll just let them do it, and it just happens. They go up grades and they learn, and then things happen. But the whole idea of, no, we're going to take this, we're going to own it, and we're going to do it our way. That is so empowering. That is so empowering.
Yeah.
And I think that's something, it translates, right? It translates to everything. It translates to the property businesses, translates to you're starting some other business, like you're built, they all come together.
Mhm.
And I just think 2020 has been this amazing opportunity to really step into owning things, even though
Yeah.
they may be hard.
Yes. I 100% agree with that. Absolutely. And one of the things that the homeschooling highlighted for me, anyways, is you're really able to see where your children are and understand their learning styles. So, my oldest is 7, she's in second grade. But once we started homeschooling, I realized that her science level was not at second grade. And the program that we're using is Time for Learning as our base for the curriculum. And then we have supplemental material in terms of books and things like that that we're following. But what I loved about that is that we were able to put her at a first grade science level, give her a refresher on science, build up that knowledge base. And now she's at second grade, following along, right along with the curriculum, no issues. So I love that flexibility where you can, versus if I was in the school system, she would just be moving along,
Yep.
whether she understood that or not. So being able to give her that stronger foundation in that one area, absolutely worth it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It has been an adventure on this side of the fence for me, but but I will tell you, no, there is something to that, knowing that you have that power, that education power in your hand,
Mhm.
all those things to
Yep.
link forward, that go forward, they're in your hand. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And like you said, 2020 was the perfect year for investing and taking ownership in so many things. And it does translate into the business. I really want to educate investors and property owners into taking more of an ownership level and giving them the tools to manage their property to the level of a professional, so to
Mhm.
speak. So,
So, is there for you we'll do two things. The biggest win that you're proud of so far as an entrepreneur, and then let's talk about the biggest challenge so far as an entrepreneur.
so the biggest challenge I would say is just finding a way to manage it all
Mhm.
and not let any of the balls drop. So you're juggling all of these things, and everything needs its attention to keep moving forward, whether that's your role as a wife, as a mother, as an employee, how you show up at work, and then balancing it all would be one. And the second part to that challenge, I would say, is navigating my role in corporate America
Mhm.
as I get a better understanding of my role as CEO of my own company.
Mhm.
So putting the line in the sand in terms of how I commit and show up at work, not necessarily showing up less or committing less, but making sure that my business is a priority. So those staying over and volunteering and taking on other projects and all of that. Okay, no, I have to leave at 5 on these days, or I have to shut it down at this time and work through a different way to deliver. So
Mhm.
that has been a challenge. Personally, I'm in property management. I work for a property management company.
Mhm.
A lot of the mental stress for me has surrounded the fact that, okay, what I want to do is what I do professionally.
Mhm.
How do I, or am I creating a conflict of interest?
Mhm.
Is there something wrong that I'm doing? And I struggled with that for a really long time, to the point where I think now I'm in a good place. But
Mhm.
had I been at this place a while ago, I could have been so much further in this journey of transitioning and building my business. But I spent so much time going
Working.
back and forth between, do I leave? How do I do this? And be fair to all that's involved. But at some point you have to say, go back to your why, right? Why am I doing this? What is my long-term goal? And what am I trying to accomplish? Absolutely.
I love you that you brought that up because I think this just goes back to a little bit earlier when you were talking. I forgot the words that you used, but you had made that mind shift,
Mhm.
right? And when we talked about being unstoppable, I think that's another piece of it, right? It's that when you get that mental focus to my end is over here, like it's not
Yes,
here, it's
yes,
over here. So let me go ahead and get my priorities in order because I don't have time to raise my hand for every, I was gonna say after school activity, for every for every work event that gets me brownie points for something that I'm not interested in
right.
later down the path. So I'm glad you brought that up because that is a big mental shift,
Yeah, yeah.
that territory. Oh, if there's somebody that's listening or that's watching who very much wants their path to be down the real estate and property management and like getting this going, what's your top tips for them to start making a move? Knowing they got all this other stuff going on down this path.
I would start where we started, understanding your why, right? Because when things get challenging, getting back to why are you doing this is really important to help keep you going. You're going to have, as in anything, you're going to have naysayers and you're going to have people that aren't fully on board or have fully bought into what you're trying to do.
Mhm.
But you're going to have so many more people that are encouraging you. So, my one thing would be use the naysayers to fuel your fire,
Yes.
encouragers to fan the flames. I have so many more people fanning the flames that's going to just help you build that confidence and resiliency that you will need to dig deep and go further. So
Mhm.
that would be tip number one. Tip number two, I would say, is hold on to your wins. You have created results along the way.
Mhm.
There are tangible examples that you can look back over your career and see where you showed up and showed out.
Mhm.
Hold on to those wins, hold on to those results that you've delivered, and know that you can do it again and for yourself, and probably 10 times over, because there are no restrictions in how you show up and how you do that. And then three, I would say, is really get a great understanding of who you want to serve. Who
Mhm.
you want to serve, and find out what their likes and dislikes are. Where do they like to shop? What do they like to do? Get a really good understanding of that, build that avatar of who your ideal client is or clientele is, and go for it. No
Mhm.
holds barred, just go for it.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And I love that you brought up the wins. One conversation that comes up often, that I hear from ladies often, is, do I need to go and get my certification? Do I need to get this certification? And it generally comes from women who have such rich experiences and
Mm,
so much that has happened that has already laid the path of credibility. And it's, honey, you are already unstoppable. We need you to recognize it. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because there is so much there already.
already. Mm-hmm.
It comes down to you.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
what it comes down to. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Jannelle, if there are people who want to get in touch with you to just hear more, learn more, figure out how they can get their real estate thing off the ground, where do they go? How do they connect with you?
Absolutely. You can connect with me on my website. It is www.legacyrose.company.com. I am also on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Legacy Rose Company. So, Legacy Rose Company. Yes, love to connect with anyone interested in property management, getting started, how to tighten up, be more efficient, and how to grow your portfolio. So I also offer a 30-minute free consultation. So you can book a consultation and chat with me, see if we will be a good fit.
Awesome. And we will make sure that all Jannelle's info gets posted on the show notes at CandaceSpears.com, so you can grab it there as well. So, Jannelle, this has been an awesome conversation. It really has. From me being re-encouraged about my homeschooling and just our super empowering conversation about being unstoppable and that mindset shift that
Yeah.
goes along with that. So I thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today, Jannelle.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So you all know what I say. Don't just hold on to what you have heard and just keep it and put it in a box. Take it out and take some action. And if you need to rewind this episode to pull out a few nuggets, especially those mental nuggets, do that. And I hope you take this, take some action, have a great day, have a great evening whenever you are listening or watching. And I'll talk to you again very, very soon.